What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the podcast, we've got an amazing agent from Los Angeles. She was actually the 22nd Compass agent in LA, has sold over $350 million worth of real estate. Welcome to the show, Naomi. Welcome to the show, Naomi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me.
And you're dialing in or logging in from the West Coast, correct?
From looks sunny today, from sunny Los Angeles. Yes.
All right. So all the way from California. Before we dive into some of the amazing things you're doing in your real estate business, can you give folks a little bit of your background and just tell them how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So my family has always been investing. They've always been investors in real estate. So I learned from a very young age about real estate. I have a very high risk tolerance for it because I've seen it kind of create generational wealth. And so I'm the only one in my family that represents buyers and sellers with real estate. And I've been doing it for about 17 years now. I'm actually in my continuing education, which is driving me crazy with these questions. And I've sold about 350 million worth of real estate, continuously building my team. And here we are. I was number 22 to be asked to join Compass here in LA. I think we had maybe 100 total agents between New York and LA, and now we have 15 or 20,000. So I love what I do, and I love being a real estate matchmaker.
Oh wow! So you were the 22nd agent in
LA.
In LA.
So I think there were maybe 85 people in New York.
Okay.
And 22 or 25 here, and now we've got over tens of thousands, which is amazing.
Wow. So yeah, you've seen a lot of growth there. How has that coincided with the growth of you and your team? What does your team look like today?
So I really believe I could not have grown to the level I'm at without Compass, without Robert Refkin, without the incredible support staff that Compass has. There were statistics that I think agents were growing twofold at the beginning of this 5 or 6 years ago. And I would say those numbers are significantly more now. We just have incredible resources. We have AI technology that really helps us with outreach. We have incredible support with marketing, and we have really creative, positive culture at Compass. And so they really encourage you to grow, and we really do collaborate without competition. And so you can really, really excel in that type of environment. So I think I've grown tenfold actually being at Compass.
What does your actual team look like? Like how are you set up, organized? Who's on it?
Organized? This is 2021. Yeah. I don't understand that word. What is that? What is that foreign language you speak? But I have a transaction coordinator. I have a dedicated marketing person that I have outside of Compass, in addition to inside of Compass. I have Kobe McDonald that's on my team. I have Katie Pruitt that's on my team as agents. I have, what else? I have my business development person, and I'm sure I missed, my transaction coordinator. I think I said that, but I'm also looking to grow, and I think I need to get just an overall office assistant to manage and do that thing you call organize and keep the systems running.
And I'm sure if your market's like many of the rest, it's probably hard to, or challenging, I should say, balancing act to grow, keep up with this low inventory, high demand, and kind of keep the train from, going off the tracks. Are you guys experiencing like a crazy market and lines for showings and all that kind of stuff? Or?
Yes. So, I mean, the tracks have blown off the rails, and we've got like buyers, sellers, and agents pushing the train to get from one place to the next. But it's nuts. I mean, whether you're looking to lease or purchase, you're going to have anywhere between 5, sometimes 50 offers. There was a listing that was listed at 3.8 million. It's under contract and about to close at 5.6. So it's significant.
Wow.
Any home, not condo, but any home that's under 2 million, you're going to have 11 offers minimum, and it will sell for approximately 10% over. It's wild. And with Compass, we have what's called private exclusive. So because we're such a large company, the listings that we have, I have one right now, it's listed off market, which we can't do off market pocket, but we can do it within the same brokerage. And I'm getting a lot of interest with those properties as well. So the interest rates are low, and more people can afford to purchase than rent. They're weighing out and balancing what that looks like.
What's the breakdown of your business between single family homes versus condos?
That's a great question. I'd say it's either equally divided or heavier slightly on homes. Especially now, you're having a lot of buyers look outside of the normal West LA vibe. So they might be looking in the Valley, and this only makes sense to LA real estate agents, but now they'll consider being north of the boulevard, not just south of Ventura Boulevard. Santa Monica, they'll go south. West LA, they'll be close to a freeway. So they're just wanting a home. They want space. This is a pandemic shift.
So they're willing to be in a area further out, or have more of a commute, because maybe they don't have to commute anymore, or maybe they're okay, being further from the hot spots if they can get their own space or more of their own space.
100%. I was looking at a house with a client last week. It was one house from the 101 freeway, which is a pretty strong freeway here in LA. One house away, multiple offers, listed at 155. So, if the city ever wanted to expand the freeway, there goes their house, but it's good for right now. So I always advise people, you're paying a premium right now, hands down. Money is also almost free. And you don't always need to look at real estate as how much money am I going to make when you sell it? The question is, how long do you want to live in it? Are you willing to pay a premium? And if you're willing to live in it for 5 to 7 years, enjoy the home.
Right. That's definitely something that's hard to put a price on, like, living the kind of life that, you want to live, or having the space that you want every single day. Like, some things are a little bit more important than money.
Yeah. And, even if you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. So why not pay your own mortgage? And, with some homes or condos, you can put down 3.5 or 5%. You could put down 10 or 15% on different properties. So we don't need the 20% rule of thumb from back in the day.
What's been the biggest challenge for you and your team, between, the lockdowns, the pandemic, just, year over year? Like, what's different, and what's been hard, and how have you overcome that?
So with me, what's been very difficult is childcare. And, I think that's a real hot button right now, especially for women. And I'm a single mom, right? So I'm dealing with my clients and a crazy market and, my toddler, and trying to balance out time for everybody. And right now my toddler is taking it like a champ, not really having his mom around that often. And so I would say childcare 100%. I think The other challenge that I've definitely overcome being in this business for so long, you just can't take things personally. You just have to roll with it. You have to really rise above it and be the professional, the consummate professional, help guide your clients, deal with their emotions. I mean, we're therapists, we're lawyers. I love that part. And just keep your eye on the prize, and don't get distracted by other agents' emotions or other clients' emotion. Just stay the course on closing the deal.
I think that's a challenge a lot of people have faced with schools being shut down, and agents. A lot of them work from home anyway, but now they're having to do that with their their kids there. So I think that's something that a lot of people have had to deal with, and
Oh,
in
yeah.
a lot of different industries too.
Yeah, go to showings with my kids. I mean, listen, I call him my assistant. They don't seem to believe me, but he really does help out. He knows the password to my phone. I haven't had him roll calls in yet, but we're working on it.
Well, there's definitely benefits to getting them in the business early. So
Oh yeah. He better keep his ass out of this business. This is the most unhealthy business on the planet. I think I had 2 agents hang up on me last weekend. And I'm just, I think the biggest piece to kind of overcome any challenge is just to meet it with humor and detachment, right? So if I'm calling an agent, you want to be a jerk, that's cool with me. I'm just trying to broker the deal so that before we start the contractual piece, we're on the same page so it becomes as less contentious as possible. And so I did that. And I guess I triggered the agent asking,
hmm.
are you good friends with these people that like to stare outside of the backyard while people are looking at the house? He got offended and hung up the phone. And the house has been on the market for 8 months in this market. So yeah, it's been fun.
Well, you can't take things personally if you want to really
No.
enjoy this business. So you work with investors as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your investor business like right now?
Slower, much slower. Investors for multifamily, for apartment buildings are being really cautious. Um, they're more A buildings, B buildings, so they haven't really been affected with tenants not paying rent during COVID. But they're still nervous. And in LA, in different municipalities here, like Santa Monica, West Hollywood, we're having um, a lot of politics going on. And so you have rent control to contend with. You have the cities that think that landlords are making money hand over fist, right? Even though they have massive amount of bills. Like if an elevator goes out for 150,000, that's on the landlord, not to the tenant. And a lot of multifamilies are owned, buildings are owned by mom and pops. These are mom and pops. These are like mom and pop restaurants. So they took a risk to invest in housing to provide for people, and they're just getting slammed. You can charge $8 for a latte, but you can't charge market rent for someone making 6 figures, right? So I think there's an imbalance there. And I think the good thing with the pandemic, I'm on a little bit of a tangent here, but it's kind of shining light on what needs to be disrupted and kind of mindsets that need to be formed a little bit differently, a little reshaped. But yeah, the investors are being cautious. They're still moving forward. I mean, show me any real estate in Los Angeles over the last 10 years or 20 years that hasn't significantly appreciated. And so my biggest play right now, my biggest educational push right now is consider generational wealth, right? If you can afford it today and you're comfortable with that today, where is that going to be, and where are you going to be in 20 years and 30 years? Forget 10, 15 years. Generational wealth from today plus 20 to 30 years. And I think that's important. And I think the pandemic has given an opportunity for people to take a step back and really understand what that means.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful framework. I mean, with the cost of money and the overall money supply, uh, and the housing shortage, like there's less developers now getting into it. So every year there's hundreds of thousands of less homes, which is really driving uh,
Right.
the supply is low. We could get to a point in 10 to 20 years where owning a home is like for very few people, or a lot less percentage of the population than it is today. So yeah, if you can afford it today and lock it in, it's only going to get easier in the future. And you,
And
yeah,
you always have a
and
roof over your head.
right.
You don't have to be worried about somebody else, pulling the proverbial rug out from under you. You always have a roof over your head.
Well, I've enjoyed our time, and I need to wrap up here in a minute. But before I do, I always like ending with the hyper fast round. If you're ready for some rapid fire
Let's do
questions and
it.
answers. All right. What's your biggest piece of advice to a new real estate agent today?
Get out while you can. No, I'm actually very serious about that. But if not, then join a team. 100% join a team. Learn.
What about an experienced agent? What would you tell them?
Get out as fast as you can. Um, I would say outreach, 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 and be consistent with that. And pick up your phone. Please pick up your phone or return a text.
Always good to do. What's been your biggest challenge in the business, and how did you overcome it, or what'd you learn from it?
Biggest challenge has been my ego and taking things
Hmm.
personally from clients being interesting, and same with agents. And what I learned is it so doesn't matter. Things are always moving, and so roll with the punches. Just stay detached, eye on the prize.
All
And
right.
don't be afraid to fire clients. Do not be afraid. It's a great thing. It feels great.
Yeah, I think that's a mindset, agents need to have an abundance mindset. And
Yes.
when you have a scarcity mindset, you'll put up with
Yes.
anything, and that can just lead to a not fun lifestyle.
Yes.
Uh, what would we find you doing when you're not selling real estate?
Sleeping, or watching some franchise of Real Housewives. I mean, I love New York and Jersey, to be honest. They're my favorite. Playing with my little one, and probably texting and emailing. I mean, there is no downtime, but yeah, that's what you'd find me doing.
All right. And the last one, where do you see yourself 10 years from today?
Such a great question. I see myself having a pretty large team and being able to run a quasi self-sufficient business, and really just loving all of my clients in the business that I'm doing. And I was doing a lot of speaking before the pandemic. So I love speaking. I love help educating real estate agents and entrepreneurs on business, what that looks like, especially women, because it is hard and there is a gender difference no matter what anybody says. And those scales are definitely imbalanced. So I like to be their cheerleader and help be their advocate and help them absolutely crush it.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. I've enjoyed our conversation. Before I sign off, though, if people have questions for you, or want to learn more about being an agent or buyer and selling a home in LA, or talk to you about speaking or anything like that, or if they just want to connect, what are the best ways for them to do that?
Best way is Instagram. I'm at Sundays in the city _ and you can just DM me. I'd love to hear from you. I'm here to help, and excited for what the future is going to bring.
All right. Well, check out Naomi on Instagram. Thank you so much for being on the show. And for everyone who listened or watched on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you want 100 real estate tips from my best-selling book, click right here to download them instantly. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And leave some comments about what you think on the videos.